Hare Krishna. Text number 32, Dhyana Yoga. Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yo Arjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sa yogi paramo madaha. He is a perfect yogi who by comparison to his own self sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. Full meaning: one who is Krishna conscious is a perfect yogi. He is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by dint of his own personal experience. The cause of the distress of a living entity is forgetfulness of his relationship with God. And the cause of happiness is knowing Krishna to be the supreme enjoyer of all activities of the human being, the proprietor of all lands and planets, and the sincerest friend of all living entities. The perfect yogi knows that the living being who is conditioned by the modes of material nature is subjected to the threefold material miseries due to forgetfulness of his relationship with Krishna. And because one in Krishna consciousness is happy, he tries to distribute the knowledge of Krishna everywhere. Since the perfect yogi tries to broadcast the importance of becoming Krishna conscious, he is the best philanthropist in the world, and he is the dearest servitor of the Lord. In other words, a devotee of the Lord always looks to the welfare of all living beings, and in this way he is factually the friend of everyone. He is the best yogi because he does not desire perfection in yoga for his personal benefit, but tries for others also. He does not envy his fellow living entities. Here is a contrast between a pure devotee of the Lord and a yogi interested only in his personal elevation. The yogi who has withdrawn to a secluded place in order to meditate perfectly may not be as perfect as a devotee who is trying his best to turn every man toward Krishna consciousness. Arjuna Vaja. Text number 33. Yo ayam yogastvaya paroktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvastitam chanchalatvastidim stiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Purport: the system of mysticism described by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, beginning with the words Sakhau Deshe and ending with Yogi Parama is here being rejected by Arjuna out of a feeling of inability. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga in this age of Kali. The present age is characterized by a bitter struggle for a life of short duration. People are not serious about self-realization even by simple practical means, and what to speak of this difficult yoga system, which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of place, and detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjuna thought it was impossible to follow this system of yoga, even though he was favorably endowed in many ways. He belonged to the royal family and was highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior. He had great longevity, and above all, he was the most intimate friend of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5,000 years ago, Arjuna had much better facilities than we do now. Yet he refused to accept this system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any record in history of his practicing it at any time. Therefore, this system must be considered generally impossible in this age of Kali. Of course, it may be possible for some very few rare men, but for the people in general, it is an impossible proposal. If this were so 5,000 years ago, then what of the present day? Those who are imitating this yoga system in different so-called schools and societies, although complacent, are certainly wasting their time. They are completely in ignorance of the desired goal. Text number 34. Chanchalam hi manaha Krishna pramati balavadrutam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva dushkaram. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, it is more difficult than controlling the wind. Full meaning: the mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence, although the mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence. For a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, but ultimately no worldly man can do so. For this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind. In the Vedic literature, Katha Upanishad 1:3-4, it is said, the individual is a passenger in the car of the material body, and intelligence is the driver. I repeat, the individual is a passenger in the car of the material body, and intelligence is the driver. Mind is the driving instrument. and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the enjoyer or sufferer in the association of the mind and senses. So it is understood by great thinkers. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence. As an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of medicine, such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga. But such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjuna. And what can we say of modern man? The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind. And it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance in all humility. The method prescribed is one must engage one's mind fully in Krishna, then only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind. I repeat, the easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the Maha Mantra, the mantra for deliverance in all humility. The method prescribed is one must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind. Text number 35. Sri Bhagavan Vaja. Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Meaning of Lord Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Full meaning: the difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind, as expressed by Arjuna, is accepted by the personality of Godhead, but at the same time he suggests that by practice and detachment it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the super soul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. I repeat, by the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service, namely the first and foremost of such engagements is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn Vairagya. I repeat, the more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit or Krishna. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.